The Independent National Electoral Commission may have some explaining to do, as the Lagos State Governor, Pt.2 Fashola, has questioned the process surrounding the current number of registered voters whose permanent voters' cards are ready for collection in Lagos. The governor says he does not understand why Lagos, with a voting population of over 6 million in 2011, will now have only 4 million 3 years later. At a state broadcast and interactive session with journalists today, the governor said the electoral umpire must be ready to explain to Lagosians what has happened.
Data has undergone a lot of processing, like configuration, issues, and then subjected to business rules. So because of this, we now have about 4.8 million.
That was the INEC rec in Lagos a few days ago, declaring the number of voter cards ready for collection. But the governor of Lagos State, Pt.2 Fashola, seems not to be happy with that and has queried how the umpire arrived at the figure, which he said is now over 1 million shy of the over 6 million voting population arrived at just 3 years ago.
Whether there are integrity and competence issues here, the answers that they provide to us, but it doesn't make sense at face value to say that we were 6 point something million with babies, with all of the assurances that we are giving, and to suddenly come back and we are suddenly 4.8 million.
INEC says it arrived at the 4.8 million figure after a more stringent business rule process. But the Lagos governor says his government will make sure to defend its citizens and their rights on the matter. After his state address asking Lagosians to come out en masse to participate in the exercise, Mr. Fashola engaged in an interactive session with journalists and he responded to issues bordering on the electoral process.
The elections in this state, and indeed across Nigeria, should not be a day of anguish. If they got this right in 2010 or 2011, what should have happened if there is really continuous voters registration? It's not a 3 or 4 day registration. Every day you turn a thing, go and register. So that we don't put ourselves through this pain.
The first day of the permanent voter cards distribution exercise in Lagos, that is Friday the 7th of November, has been declared a work-free day for public service workers, and the governor urges private sector administrators to make the day flexible so that Lagosians can be able to collect their voter cards. Sheung Okimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
We move on to security matters now, and an uneasy calm is still gripping the once quiet city of Potiskum, Yobe State, where a suicide bomber launched an attack on Shia Muslims, killing about 20 people. And the governor of the state, Alhaji Ibrahim Gaidam, visited the leader of the Shia Brotherhood, Alhaji Lawan Najiri, calling for peace and vigilance to prevent a recurrence of such incident. The leader of the group, who showed some pictures to the governor, wondered why militants would launch such an attack on innocent people carrying out their religious rites.
It's the second time in the last 2 years we are coming here to see some victims of insurgency here in Potiskum. It is unfortunate that these things have been happening, and I condemn it in its totality. I do it as barbaric, wicked, and ungodly. And the Almighty Allah, I pray to Him that He punish the perpetrators of this act. It is my prayers that this kind of thing does not happen again anywhere in Nigeria. Some of them have been referred to Nguru Medical Center, and I can assure you that all the medical bills will be borne by the state government. I understand that the executive chairman of the hospital management board made me to understand that since they came in, since they were taken into this hospital, no one pays a single kobo. They will continue to stay here until they get better.
Fresh claims have emerged from the Nigerian army that insurgents are operating among the warring tribes of Nasarawa State and have even been paid to rain terror on the state. The commanding officer of the 177 Guards Brigade, Kefi, Colonel Musa Ibrahim, made this revelation when he led the governor of Nasarawa State and other security agencies through 13 communities affected by the ongoing violence in the state.
Rural communities of Adogi, Ashangwa, Gidingambo, and Alakio, all along the Lafia-Shindam Road, have all tasted the brutality of militia forces, leaving the sights of horror and pain, which include the allegation against some community leaders paying the insurgents to rain terror.
We got information somehow that we get maybe 3,000 or 4,000 naira to take, go and fight, take the gun. But what do you get from them? Nothing. They now have to steal to make up. Afghanistan, they have to steal to make up. You go to any provision store, they break, carry minerals, drink, do this, do that, so many things. If you are unfortunate, they meet you, they take you there. Next time, if they meet women, they rape them. If you check from the beginning up to when we go to the bridge, you don't see any woman. At all. Except those ones carrying their the boys here were hidden when we were passing. They just came out.
The impact assessment tour by the governor and his team is yet to make an impact, but it pledges the usual support of providing security coverage for the affected communities.
You can see the sporadic nature of this crisis. They don't come to the place where the security operatives are keeping vigil. This nocturnal people who just go to places where they are sure there are no security. I mean, given what we have, we cannot spread tentacles or drag nets across the whole of the communities in the state. To do that, we require a substantial number of community security operatives. So we have to do what we can, especially with where we have preponderance of population settlement. And of course, the aim is to save the lives of the greater majority of the people with the limited resources and available security operatives at our disposal.
But with the concerns raised by the people of security absence in some of the communities, the governor's verbal pledge may have to metamorphose immediately into action.
On to legal matters now. The coroner inquest into the collapsed Synagogue church building continued today at the Lagos High Court in Ikeja, with the founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet Pt.2 Joshua, failing to appear. The contractor of the collapsed building, who had also been summoned to testify alongside the church founder, also failed to show up. 2 weeks ago, the coroner, Magistrate Oyetade Komolafe, had summoned both men to appear before the inquest to give information on what they know about the collapse, which left 116 people dead.
Owing to the early morning downpour, the inquest started 2 hours late, by which time the coroner's court was packed full. Proceedings started with the testimony of the General Manager of the Lagos State Emergency Agency, LASEMA, Dr. Olufemi Okeosaintolu. He told the coroner that rescue efforts were initially impeded because of some resistance his team faced while trying to assess the scene of the collapsed building. He also blamed the police for not being able to control the crowd of onlookers and sympathizers who had gathered at the scene of the incident. He faulted the synagogue church staff for not making available the building plan and the manifest of victims, details which would have enabled the first responders know the number of victims still missing and how to position its heavy-duty equipment so as not to compromise oxygen to those trapped. He concluded that he and his team of rescuers were not initially given an enabling environment to work. After 7 days of rescue operations, Dr. Osaintolu said that his team succeeded in recovering 86 dead bodies, while 131 people were rescued alive. He observed that the bodies recovered were not disjointed. His testimony and cross-examination spanned a 3-hour period, after which the coroner again appealed to other witnesses who had been summoned to show up in court to testify. It was at this point that the counsel to the synagogue church, Mr. Olalekan Ojo, informed the coroner that the founder of the church, Prophet T.B. Joshua, and the building contractor had not been personally served with the witness summons. He, however, refused to accept service on behalf of his client, insisting that service of witness summons through counsel was not provided for within the law.
The newspaper publications are not effective way or means of conveying invitation to court to come and give evidence. They are not the best ways of doing so. And that is why there is provision for service of witness summons. It is not a ploy. He has nothing to fear. He has nothing to hide. But he must be properly summoned. That has not been done. Let us address that. Let us tell them to do what they should do.
The coroner has, however, reiterated that Prophet T.B. Joshua must appear before the inquest, failing which the court may be forced to use the police to bring the full wrath of the law to bear on him. The coroner also gave the church's counsel 72 hours to provide information on the church contractor to enable him also be served. The inquest continues on Thursday. Shola Shuyeli, Channels Television News.
The Federal Executive Council today approved 3 foreign loans worth $945 million for agriculture and rural development, including water supply, irrigation and flood management in Oyo, Bauchi, Ekiti and River States. The council meeting, presided over by the Vice President Namadi Sambo, also approved 4 road projects at the cost of 22 billion naira. When the news at 10 returns, the Nigerian Stock Exchange lists first company on ASEM board since relaunch in 2013, and that'll be on Business News. Do join us again.